Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Miss Coffee here, and today we are doing a whip and chat. So get out whatever it is you're working on, work along with me as I tell you some stories from the coffee house shenanigans. Today I am working on an image. I'm not sure if it's still available at Diamond Art Club. If it is, I should probably try to remember to link it. If not, I do apologize, but this kit is actually a few years old. So if you don't know what kit this is Swan Lake by Diamond Art Club. This kit came out a few years ago. I stopped working on it, and I had a few people that kept asking me about it. So I figured I might as well work on it, just because if I don't, people won't stop asking me about it. And honestly, I just want to get it done and over with so they stop asking. This is not a kit I particularly enjoyed working on, which is why I stopped. So yeah, and it's not that there's anything wrong with the kit itself. I don't do well with dark colors. As I've stated numerous times, dark colors send me literally into a depression. I don't know what it is about dark colors in diamond painting, but I do not enjoy working on them. But we are going to get through this kit just because it is one of the most asked about kits on my channel. And so I'm going to get done with it so that people can essentially stop asking me about it. So that's just me being honest. That's not me trying to like throw shade at people. It's just honesty. Like, I get asked about this kit so often, I'm just ready to be done with it. So people stop asking me about it. Anywho, how was your weekend? Did you have a good weekend? Did you have a bad weekend? Let me know how your weekend was down in the comment section below. I had an absolute horrible weekend. Let's talk about it. First things first, I would like to say thank you to everyone who joined me Friday night. We did a super long live Friday night. It was a lot of fun. I haven't done a live that long on YouTube in a very, very long time. And so it was really a lot of fun to do. And what we did was we worked until I completed Beautifully Broken by Diamond Art Club. And so, yeah, I really, really enjoyed myself. So thank you to all who showed up. Also, thank you to everyone who donated. You guys had Minna pretty much in tears at the amount of love and support that she received from that request. She honestly wasn't expecting anything to come of it. But when she woke up the next day and her friend called her, yeah, they were pretty much overjoyed. So thank you guys so much for that. I really, really appreciate it. Now, if you were in live on Friday, you knew there was a little bit of a disturbance in the forest, okay? So I have been battling with DoorDash. If you don't know what DoorDash is, if you don't live in this country and, you know, you don't have DoorDash, DoorDash is a delivery service that delivers foods and stuff to your house. And essentially, you place an order online and they deliver it to you. Now, this might seem like a first world problem, which it probably is. But to me, this was like really annoying. Anyways. So I'm sitting here, minding my own crafty business. I'm getting ready to go live. Well, before I went to go live, usually what ends up happening on Friday nights before I go live is around 5:30, we figure out what we want to have for dinner. And then Mr. Coffee usually gets off in time to go pick it up, bring it home. We have dinner together. You know, the kids go off and play. I talk to Mr. Coffee about what's going on for the day or what's going on for the weekend or whatnot. And then I go live. Well, this Friday, Mr. Coffee, as usual, had to work late. Now, Mr. Coffee has been working late for the last month and a half almost, and it's really starting to affect the household. Him and I have been having very serious conversations about the effects that it's having on the household and the fact that he hasn't really had a day off to spend with the family or anything, and because he doesn't like it when we go out and do things without him, it's making for a very boring summer for the kids. So him and I had to have a talk about this because he's either going to have to miss out or he's going to have to tell his boss, you know, look, I'm missing out on time with my family. I would like to go do things with my kids for the summer. I'm going to need a couple of days off. So hopefully that works. And he heads his shop, so he just needs to make sure there's somebody there in case there's an emergency or whatnot, so that I'm going to bring this down a little bit. Plus, this plastic is getting on my nerves. He just has to make sure there's somebody there in case, like, a job calls in or something like that. So he was supposed to be talking to his boss today about that. But he, of course, had to work late. So that meant that I had to either go get something or have something delivered. Which usually, if he works late, I will have something delivered just because rounding the kids up. One, you have to find Maggie, okay? Maggie is my feral child, for those who are new. She is the outdoor kid. She is the one that is outdoors. Good luck finding her when she's outdoors. Now, she has a walkie-talkie. Does she keep it on her? No. She will straight up leave it on the porch and just go gallivant around the neighborhood. The good thing is, I at least know the places that she likes to go play in the neighborhood, so I can easily find her always. But like last week, Thursday, I'm sitting here and I had a meeting with my Cincy girls, and I was like, oh God, Maggie's missing. I have to go find her. Well, here she was playing hide-go-seek with the neighborhood kids, and we could not find her. I'm looking everywhere. I finally jump in the car and decide to drive around the neighborhood instead of trying to walk around because it's going to take me forever. So I started driving around. We're calling her name because I have Orion with me, of course. And because Orion knows a couple of spots that she likes to go play at too. So we're calling for her. We're calling for her. We can't find her. We can't find her. I'm starting to freak out a little bit because, you know, usually it's not this hard to find her. And I found the group of kids that she was playing with. And I was like, hey, have you guys happened to see Maggie? And they were like, yeah, but she's really good at hide and seek. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean she's good at hide and seek? They're like, we're playing hide and go seek. I'm like, oh, here we go. Now, when you play hide and go seek with Maggie, you have to remember two things. One, Maggie is stealthy as shit, okay? Two, Maggie is tiny, so she can fit in places that most kids her age cannot. So when you play hide and go seek with Maggie, you want to look in stupid places because more than likely that is where she's going to be. So I'm like, okay, she's playing hide and go seek. Let's find little cubbies or little holes or whatever that she can get into. We looked for Maggie for about 30 minutes. 30 minutes it took us to find this child. And where was she? Next door. Yep, she was next door. My neighbors have a rabbit hutch, to which Maggie apparently set free their rabbits and decided to hide in the hutch. I just happened to walk past their house, and on the side of the hutch is like a little screen that you can see through. And yeah, as I went to go walk past, I just happened to look at the screen, and sure enough, there was my daughter's giant face in the screen of the hutch. And she's like, shh, mommy, don't tell them where I'm at. Chick, I've been looking for you for 30 minutes. Literally, y'all, next door in the rabbit hutch. And I'm like, hold up. Where are the rabbits? She's like, oh, they ran off. But don't worry, I'll find them. Now take it, this is not our house or our animals. And she has set free about 5 bunnies, okay? I, for some reason, don't know why, I am fearful of touching these bunnies. Again, I don't know why. I have ferrets, but I'm scared to touch bunnies. If you can explain it, have at it. I can't tell you why I'm fearful of touching the bunnies. I just know I don't necessarily want to touch them. They're cute, and luckily they got rid of all the baby bunnies so that we didn't have to go find baby bunnies. But yeah, they're quick when you try to find them, like when you're trying to grab them to go put them back in their hutch. The sad part is the neighbor was outside. He's laughing because he sees Maggie curled up in the hutch, and he's like, don't worry, those bunnies get out all the time anyways. They're easy to catch. And I'm thinking, for who? For who? I ain't never caught no bunny before. I can barely catch cold half the time. You want me to catch a bunny? What the hell? So I'm like, okay, all right. So we catch the bunnies. We get Maggie in the house. I feed her dinner, and I have my meeting with my girls. Well then, okay, going back to Friday. Friday night comes. Mr. Coffee calls 5 minutes before he's supposed to be home from work and lets us know that he's going to be late. And I'm like, sir, did you forget that I gave you our dinner order? And he's like, no, I didn't forget, but I'm going to be late. So unless you know, the kids don't mind waiting to have dinner, I'm going to be super late tonight. And I'm like, of course you are. So then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and find something for us to eat. Hold on a second. Sorry, I had to cut that plastic. It was getting on my nerves. Oh my God. So I'm like, all right, I will find something for us because I don't have time to wait on you, and we're just gonna go find something. And at this point, I'm irritated because again, Mr. Coffee is late from work. I'm having to figure out everything. The kids are like kind of spread out wherever. Like they both were outside Friday, so finding them and then trying to figure out what we were gonna have for dinner and whatnot. So I was like, all right, well, I called the place that we were going to get food from, which was KFC, and I placed my order for DoorDash, and they said, okay, we'll have it out to you, you know, whenever. I was like, all right, bet. They would have it out to me 30 minutes before I was supposed to go live, which was perfect timing because they gave me enough time to eat, clean up, get the kids their meds, or get Maggie her meds, get Killian his meds, get the dogs out, and then be back in time to make my coffee for live. Well, something ended up happening. Apparently, they were out of a drink, so the DoorDasher calls me and was like, hey, they don't have strawberry lemonade. Would you guys like something else? And I was like, yes, could you just get everybody sweet teas? And she goes, unsweetened iced tea? I'm like, no, sweet tea. And she's like, lemonade? I'm like, I said sweet tea. And she's like, oh, okay. So she's like, all right, well, I should be there in like 10 minutes. All right, 20 minutes goes by. I see nothing. 30 minutes goes by. See nothing. 45 minutes comes by. Here comes the DoorDasher. And I'm like, now I know if I were to get in my car and drive from here to KFC, yeah. It takes me 15 minutes, okay? Where have you been? Did you take my food on vacation? I don't even know how cold the food was because she delivered the food and I noticed that something was wrong because she gave me 3 drinks and 2 meals. And I was like, hold up, something ain't right here. So I go to flag her down because she of course runs and jumps in her car and takes off like a bat out of hell. And I go to, like, you know, I'm in the middle of the street waving my hands around like, hey, you're missing something. Hey, she doesn't see me, doesn't stop nothing. You can tell she hadn't been looking in her mirrors or anything. She literally just took off. And I was like, what the flip? So, of course, I call KFC and I'm like, hey, look, listen, you guys did not get my order correct. There are 3 drinks, but 2 meals. And 2 of the meals were the exact same thing, and you only sent me 1 of them. Oh, you'll have to call DoorDash about that. Why am I calling DoorDash? I want my food. Well, then I finally get a hold of the lady that delivered the food, and she's like, oh, you'll have to contact KFC about that. Now, of course, we get the runaround. And so one of them is telling me to call DoorDash. The other one's telling me to call KFC. I've called both at this point, and I'm like, somebody better either run me my money or give me my food. Either way, I don't have time to deal with this crap. So how about this? How about you just re-deliver the meal that you forgot? I'll have my kids grab it because I'm going to be in the middle of something and I won't be able to just stop what I'm doing just to come grab food from you. And we'll, you know, call it a day. The lady goes, no, you'll have to get DoorDash to refund you the money and then replace the order. And I was like, fine, fuck it. I don't care. I'll just do that. So I replace the order 5 minutes before I'm supposed to go live. And I'm like, I just won't eat. That's fine. Well, I noticed about 30 minutes into live that my food hadn't still showed up. And I was like, well, it did take the first lady almost an hour to get here. So maybe they're just hella busy. Be patient. Just go on with live. Well, then Mr. Coffee at some point messages me and is like, hey, and I told him, you know, I'm going live right now, so I won't be able to, whatever. Like, he knew I was going live early. So I'm like, I don't even know why you tried messaging me because I told you I was going live early. And he's like, oh, well, I just was checking to see if you wanted food. And I was like, you know, I literally didn't get a chance to respond to him because I was live. And I don't like, you know, text messaging or whatever while I'm live. So I was just like, you know, I just ignored him. And I'm thinking, he'll get the hint. And he better get the hint because if not, I'm going to eat him. Because I did make mention to him that my food never showed up. Like, they got my order wrong. So I was like praying that he would bring me my food. Well, he shows up 20 minutes later. He did bring me food. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right. Now he comes in. He's irritated because he's late. And he didn't get a chance to talk to me before I went live, which is what we always do. So he's irritated. And I'm irritated because then he immediately goes to walk the dogs. Now, if you were in live, you would have heard me whining. Because, look, listen, I love my husband to death. I really do. He's my everything. This man had the nerve to put, now I'm hungry, okay? I haven't eaten all day, okay? I'm sitting here minding my crafty business, just chit-chatting with you guys, and he puts my food on the table in front of me, not like in my craft room, but in the kitchen, okay? Puts the food on my kitchen table and then just leaves. And I'm like, like literally I can see it. So like, here's me in the craft room. Here's the kitchen table, like up here a little bit. I'm looking at my food on the table while I'm streaming and I'm like, I'm so hungry. Why would he leave it there? I'm so hungry. He finally comes back like 10 minutes later, like the longest dog walk he's ever done. He comes back and he's looking at me and he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, what? Why did you leave my food on the table? Why didn't you give me my food? He's like, oh, I know you don't like eating when you're live. And I was like, if you don't give me that food, I will eat you, sir. Sir, I will eat you. I will straight up cannibal you right now. So unfortunately, I felt really bad that I had to eat while I was live, but I was freaking starving and I still didn't eat it all. Well, then about 2 hours into live, I realized, hold up, what happened to that food that was supposed to get delivered? It never got delivered. So I'm sitting there angry because, one, I didn't get to finish all of my food. I ate enough to the point where my stomach wouldn't be growling while I'm live. And so when I finished live, it was like, what, 12:30, I want to say? I called DoorDash. And luckily, they're like 24/7 or something, because I called them and I'm like, hey, I called earlier. There was a mix-up with my order. Like, the lady just did not pick up the correct order. And so she didn't bring me my food, so I had to reorder it and get a refund from you guys. But my second order never showed up. And the DoorDash guy was like, wow, that really is not good. I'm like, no, twice in one day is really not good. It's taking everything in me right now to not curse, but I'm so tired, all I want to do is curse. At this point of night, the only vocabulary I have are curse words. And he's like, I do apologize. This obviously is not the experience we want for our customers. I'm like, but obviously it is, because this is the third time I've ordered DoorDash and the third time this has happened to me. I keep trying to give you guys chances thinking that you guys will get better, and you don't. So run me my money. Because the guy was like, well, maybe we can get your food out to you. Sir, I live in a place where everything shuts down at like 9 o'clock, okay? 9 o'clock. You are not getting me no cold ass KFC at at midnight when they closed at 9 o'clock. Just give me my refund. And also make sure to take the tip away from the first and the second drivers, seeing as how they didn't do their job properly. And the second lady, when she did finally call me back, had the nerve to get an attitude with me because she didn't read the receipt right. And she was like, well, I'm sorry that my English isn't the best. Ma'am, that sounds like a you problem. Like, I'm not sure how that's my problem. I thought that was a you problem. So I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'm over it. They're giving me my refund. I'm just going to go on about my life. And of course, at that point, I'm irritated because Mr. Coffee was late, so I didn't get a chance to talk to him. And by the time I finished live, he had fallen asleep on the couch. And I was like, of course. So I didn't get to spend any time with Mr. Coffee on Friday. So then here comes Saturday. Saturday, I'm getting repped up. I'm so excited. We go to wake up. We get showers. And I'm like, what are we going to do today? And he's like, whatever you want to do, we can do. Because, you know I haven't been here a whole lot. And as he's talking, his phone rings. And I'm like, it better not freaking be what I think it is. He looks at the phone. He looks at me. He gives me a face. I'm like, mother. And as soon as he answers the phone, yeah, we're going to need you to go in and check this tool real quick. And so I guess he's talking to his boss. His boss is like, this will be real quick. Just go check this tool and see if we have it. Blah, 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 blah. And he gets off the phone. I have this look on my face like, you better not flip and tell me you have to go into work. And he's like, I won't be long. I just have to check on a tool. And I'm like, there's nobody there at that shop that can check on this tool. Like, you have to drive the 30 minutes to the shop. And he's like, it's not 30 minutes. It's 20 minutes. And I will be back here in a little bit. And I'm like, all right, fine. Well, 9 hours later, here comes Mr. Coffee. And I'm like, in a little bit, huh? In a little bit? In a little bit. All right. I'm like, so in a little bit, one, I stream on Saturdays on Twitch. So he usually is home on Saturday, so I can do a longer stream. And because he wasn't home, I had to walk the dogs. So that meant I couldn't stream as long as I wanted to because I had to walk the dogs. And usually with him being home, that gives me that extra time to do that. Well, I was, of course, irritated because he said he would be home in time to walk the dogs and was not. He did not show back up at this house. We woke up about 11 o'clock that morning because everybody slept in. So he didn't get back till like 8, almost 7:30, 8 o'clock that night. And I was just like, I will be right back. I will be right. The famous words, and this is how it's been going for the last month. Every time he says he's going to be home, he ends up having to get called into work. He gets called into work for something that's going to be real simple. 9, 10, 12 hours later, he comes back home. And I'm like, this is irritating as piss. At this point, like, Maggie legit looked at him and goes, Daddy, are you just coming to visit again? And he goes, what do you mean visit? She's like, well, because you live at work. He's working so much that his 9-year-old thinks he lives there. Okay, this is how much he's been working lately. So for those asking how we're adapting to Mr. Coffee's work schedule, we're not. Summer is busy for them, but it's never been this chaotically busy, and it's highly freaking irritating. And trying to do anything, like, I refuse to take the kids off by myself, especially places like swimming, because where I can swim, I'm not the strongest swimmer, and I don't feel comfortable watching two small kids that also can, essentially, the kids and I can both, we all can swim enough to save our life, but we're not the strongest swimmers. And a lot of the times, Orion and Maggie don't want to play together. They want to play separately. One wants to play in the Olympic pool. The other one wants to go play on the thing. We try to take turns, but it doesn't work. They fuss and fight the entire time. It's irritating. So me and Mr. Coffee go together, and he'll take Orion. I'll take Maggie, because usually me and Maggie want to go to the Olympic pool, and then the boys want to go, like, not waterboarding. That's the torture thing again. Whatever it's called when you're in the water. Like, it has, like, the waves, and you get like a board that you kind of surf on. They do that. And then me and Maggie will do the lazy river, which is just sitting in an inner tube going around the lazy river. I don't feel comfortable taking kids by myself because Orion will always want to go off by himself. And even though he's 11, I don't feel he's strong enough. He's a strong enough swimmer to, like, they did the summer classes at the beginning of the year, summer this year. They did it for a week. So they can both keep their head above water, which is great. But I don't feel comfortable just letting them chill there or go off by themselves. Like, that's not something I feel comfortable with. All right, I'm about to say, where's letter C? Now, I probably do not have all the diamonds for this kit. I'm pretty sure I probably don't, but we're gonna try to get through this kit. I just thought about that because I was like, I remember seeing I had some more bags of like 310 or something, and the main color in this kit is 939. And I'm pretty sure there was extra bags of 939 and everything else. I will have to go back and watch the unboxings. One of the great things about showing all the drills is that I know what drills I did and didn't have when I do the unboxing. So I'll have to go back to see how many bags of each were in the kit itself. Because if I remember correctly, it was this kit and another kit that I got a few years ago. So, and I remember unboxing it. That's the sad part. But, yeah. So that was Saturday. And so me and the kids just ended up going to the park and going to get ice cream. The ice cream thing has been a big hit with the kids. They play outside and get all hot and whatever, and they come in, they have dinner, they eat their dinner, and then we take a drive to the ice cream shop, and we get to pick one of 4 places in town that sells ice cream. And yesterday we got to go to Dairy Queen. I got my soft serve cone. I was so excited. So yeah. And then of course we get home and Maggie's like, Mommy, don't you feel bad that we didn't get Daddy an ice cream? I'm like, honey, Mr. Coffee doesn't eat ice cream anyways. Mr. Coffee has really bad teeth, and him eating ice cream is just not something he does. So I was like, no, honey, they didn't have smoothies there, and Daddy doesn't eat ice cream. And Orion's like, yeah, remember, Daddy doesn't eat ice cream. It hurts his teeth. And she's like, but I just feel bad that we didn't get anything for Daddy. And of course we walk in and he has the saddest look on his face, like somebody just kicked his brand new puppy. And I was like, well, what's wrong with you? And he's like, well, I kind of wish I could have went with you guys to go get ice cream. I'm like, okay, that sparked a huge fight because, you know, we try to include you, sir, but you keep having to get called into work. And I understand that you have a job to do. We really do. But every time we make plans, you end up having to go off in the middle of time, or in the middle of us doing stuff, to go to work. So what do you expect me to do about this? Like, I'm not going to sit around this house just waiting for you to hopefully have a day off. And what his boss didn't tell him was he had off 4th of July weekend. So he had off the entire weekend, which was wonderful. But his boss did not tell him that they were purposely not going to call him in to give him that 4 days. Especially seeing as how he had just worked 32 days in a row. Working no less than 12 hours a day those days. So, yeah. So, trying to wait for him to do anything, yeah, that's not happening. So, I've given up waiting on Mr. Coffee, which, of course, makes him sad because he wants to enjoy and do things with the kids as well. But, unfortunately, you can't have your cake and eat it, too. And in his profession, you can't hang out with your family and have that job, you know, be a thing. And when I say that, it's not like he needs to quit his job or anything, but the fact that his weekends he's always on call, which is understandable. I knew that going into it. But the fact that they would not allow him to have any days off, like literally, they will call him in for the littlest, stupidest thing to go look to see if something is at the shop. Like, not even to go work on anything, go look and see if we have that. So yeah, and because he has a company truck, he kind of has to do it because that's part of having that's part of the agreement of having a company truck. Sorry, I need to warm up my coffee. All right, so let's go for our next number, which is going to be this slash number. So yeah, so it's been a little rocky here in the coffee house, to be honest, and I'm sure things will eventually work themselves out, but for right now, it's just really, really irritating, and Mr. Coffee's not happy. I'm upset with everything going on. The kids, I don't think they really give a crap, to be honest. Like, they're enjoying their summer. Orion's been reading and playing video games. Maggie has been outside this entire time. We got new dressers in yesterday, and this was really fun. Mr. Coffee's been making it a point to go outside with Maggie every night when he gets home for 30 minutes. And when he came back in, I was upstairs putting together the kids' new dressers. Now, we just ordered these new dressers. They're not like typical dressers. They kind of look like storage solutions, just because the drawers are like a mesh, not like a mesh, but like they're fabric. And I was like, I want to try these for the kids. One, because the kids can tear up everything and will tear up everything. So I'm like, let's try something different. So it's like these fabric containers, and there's like, I want to say there's 10 drawers. And I was like, okay, and it's a metal frame, and it has like a really nice wood top. And I was like, we're going to try these for the kids, because I just bought them dressers from Walmart last year. And literally the drawers were falling off, and the drawers were not deep at all, so they could barely fit their clothes in there. So I was just like, this is garbage. Let's find something else. Luckily, I didn't pay a whole lot for them. But the new solution that I got, I'm like, let's try these and see if these work a little bit better for the kids with their clothes and stuff. So I started putting Maggie's together, and he comes upstairs, and he's like, would you like me to help you? I'm like, well, there's 2 kids, so there's 2 dressers. Why don't you go in Orion's room and go help Orion put his dresser together? So he goes in Orion's room, and Maggie's like, are we racing? And I'm like, racing? And she's like, let's race to see who puts the dresser together first. And I'm like, well, Daddy has tools. I don't have tools. And he goes, it comes with tools. And I was like, oh, okay. I literally had just started, so I didn't see any of the tools or anything. I was just still pulling everything out of the box. So I was like, all right. I'm like, let's race, I guess, then. Well, we decide we're going to race. So we race to see who could put together the dresser quicker. Of course, Mr. Coffee won. One, because I don't follow directions. I don't read. Who's out here reading directions? Do you read directions when you put stuff together? Asking for myself. I'd rather look at the picture and figure it out versus putting stuff together. So I'm just like, no, I'm not reading directions. Mr. Coffee, of course, being the person that he is, reads directions for everything. So, like, he's reading directions. I'm not reading directions. And he puts Orion's dresser together first. And Maggie goes, wow, Mom, you're really slow. Because I kept having to, take stuff apart and put it back together because I would put it on backwards. And because, of course, there's certain ways you have to put the dresser because the holes in the dresser. And Maggie just kind of looks at me and she goes, Mom, Tommy could have put that together quicker than you. Now, if y'all don't know who Tommy is Maggie's imaginary friend. Tommy is supposed to be on punishment, but apparently because he's, imaginary, he doesn't do punishment. So I woke up yesterday and I went to go make myself breakfast, which I never do. I never eat breakfast. I don't know why. I just don't. I don't like eating breakfast. But I decided that morning, I'm like, you know what? I'm actually going to eat breakfast. So I get up. I go in the kitchen. I make me some toast. I put a little bit of cinnamon honey butter on it. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. I get out my water bottle, which is apparently in the living room right now. I get out my water bottle. And I'm sitting there. And I'm like, okay. I got my water bottle, which has like, I think it was like watermelon, strawberry watermelon or something in it. I get out my water bottle and I'm like, okay, I have a mango pineapple lemonade in the thing. Oh, for those wondering how I stored this kit away, I literally rolled it up, drills out, and put it in a box. Did it mess up any of the drills? No. None of the drills seem to be messed up. The glue on the kit still seems to be super tacky. So, because I know that's a question I get often is, how to store your drills away. And I tell people how to do it. They do it other ways. And then they're like, I should have just listened to you. And I'm like, well, you asked and I told you how I store them. But yeah, none of the drills, as you can see, look like they're messed up or damaged or moved or shifted or fallen off or anything like that. And like I said, it was in a box. It did have the plastic covering it, so that also kept it from getting any debris on it. And remember, I've moved residences since I started this kit, so it seemed to have fared well in the move. So yeah, for storing away your kit, just roll it up drill side out and put it in a box. It was actually in its original box that it came in. That's one of the reasons why I keep the boxes until I finish a kit, because I want to make sure that if something like this happens where I have to put it away, I can put it away and not have to worry about it. Perk of having long nails also is that you can use it as a scoop to get diamonds. So I have a letter right there. There we go. So the other thing is the P's and E's on here are like tripping me out right now. I'm still trying to find my groove with this because it's been so long since I've seen it. So yeah, so we got the kids' new dressers up and running. And of course, when Mr. Coffee is home, he's so tired that I don't really get to spend a whole lot of time with him, which is kind of setting me into a depression a little bit because I'm so used to spending time with him that when I can't, I get really sad, which, you know, that's kind of a given. He's kind of my husband, so I kind of want to spend time with him. But I haven't been able to spend as much time with him as I like, and I'm hoping that soon they won't be as busy. Where the money is great. I care, obviously I care about the money. We just bought a new truck and everything else, and we're obviously going to need to be making those payments, which means we're going to be bringing that money in. But I can't just sit here and be like, oh, well, the money's good, so, you know, I can't complain. I can complain because my husband's not getting a day off, and it's like I told him, I'm like, where the money is good, I'm like, what's happening is you're running yourself into the ground, because what happens if you blow your knee out? Because if you don't know, Mr. Coffee has a bad knee, which has been bothering him lately because he's been working so much and hasn't had time to barely do anything. Like the one day he literally came home, got a shower. He was in the shower for 30 minutes, got out of the shower. By the time he got out of the shower and he had just got home from work, by the time he had gotten out of the shower, they were calling him back in again. And he was just like, I have to go back in. I'm like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. We've been dealing with this literally for a month now. Over a month, and I'm completely over it. I like his job, and I know he loves his job, but at some point, something's got to give, okay? Like, I'm going nuts over here. Oh, boy. So, yeah, so there's that. And then Sunday, we're sitting here, and the kids ask, can we do a barbecue? Because we got the grill, so now every weekend has to be a barbecue. So, I'm like, you know, all right. Oh, I forgot the Saturday thing. Okay, we'll go back to Saturday. So Sunday, the kids asked about barbecuing, and we were like, all right, we can barbecue. And I'm not going to add any special enhancements to this kit for those wondering. I'm just going to leave this kit as is because I just want to get it over and done with, to be honest. It's a beautiful kit. I've seen it completed. I don't do well with dark colors, so I'm not excited too much about this kit. But I will be taking a pause because I do have other kits coming in that I want to work on. And I will be working probably 2 canvases at once just because, yeah. Anyways, I feel bad because I feel like I'm talking crap about the kit. And like I said, it's a beautiful kit. I don't do well with dark colors. Oh, boy. Anyways, so Sunday, we decided we're going to grill. We clean up the house. We wake up. Everybody cleans up. The kids clean their bathrooms. I clean our bathroom. Mr. Coffee starts doing laundry. I vacuum the downstairs carpet because, of course, dogs. So, you know, vacuuming is a constant at my house. And so we finally go to sit down. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait for today. We had plans of going out to kind of do a picnic in the afternoon. And then we were going to barbecue at night. So I was like, I know, I can't wait. I'm super excited. And he's like, yeah, it just feels nice to sit down for a second. We're sitting there talking and his phone rings. And I'm like, my heart sinks. And I'm just like, I know it's his job. I know it. He looked at the phone. He looks at me, gives me the look. And I'm like, mother. And he answers the phone. And I'm like, God dang it. And he goes, okay, this isn't going to take long. They said it's just going to take a few minutes. I just have to put this, you know, stuff on the cart for the hot shot to come get it. Hot shot's a person that comes and takes materials back and forth. And I'm like, all right, don't take forever. We have plans today. And he goes, okay. Well, 4 hours later, he shows up again. And I'm like, what the flip, yo? Apparently, a bunch of things called in while he was at work. And so I'm like, okay. His boss calls him when he finally does get home to make sure that he did everything. And he's like, dude, I've been there for like 4 hours. Everything is done. And he's like, you know, I literally had plans with my family today. And now half the day is gone because I had to go into work. And his boss was like, I'm sorry that, you know, it's just really busy right now, and we appreciate everything that you're doing. And I'm like, I know, like, his boss does like him, and he does appreciate what Jordan's doing, but I don't appreciate the fact that I can't make plans with my husband to go out and do things, and without his job calling every 15 minutes. Now, when the only time that they really slow down is in the winter time, and of course, we already know how that goes. What are you going to do in the winter time? The kids aren't out for summer in the winter. And 2, it's too freaking cold here in North Dakota to be like, let's take a family trip. Where? Somewhere warm must be. Like, what? So it's just annoying right now, and eventually it will calm down. But for right now, it's irritating the piss out of me that I can't make plans and have them go how I want to go. Now, remember Friday night, the whole DoorDash incident? Let's go to Saturday. This was Saturday. Was this Saturday? Yeah, this was Saturday. So Saturday, Mr. Coffee had gotten called in as well. He had been gone for a while. I streamed. I got off stream, and I was like, okay, are you going to be home at any amount of time? Because it's about dinner time for us, and the kids are getting hungry. And he goes, why don't you go ahead and get something for you and the kids? Don't worry about me. And I'm like, oh, that's my sign that he's not coming home anytime soon. And I'm like, of course. So I'm irritated at this point, and so I'm like, all right, guys, what do you guys want to eat? And Maggie's like, can we get Slim Chickens? Slim Chickens has a slim salad that Maggie really, really likes, even though she only eats part of it. She loves the salad. So I was like, all right, as long as you're going to eat it, I don't care. I'll buy you the salad. So we go to Slim Chickens. We get there, I order the food, and we go through the drive-thru. And I know. I don't know if anybody else is like this. My dad, if I tell my dad that I went through the drive-thru, what did I tell you about going through the drive-thru? Don't go to the drive-thru. They screw you over in the drive-thru. My dad hates the drive-thru, will not go through the drive-thru. He is someone who has to go in all the time. Are you like this? Am I the only one that likes going through the drive-thru just because I don't have to get out of the car? Isn't that kind of the point of the drive-thru? Well, I'm sitting in the drive-thru. We order our food. No problem. Go to the window, pay, no problem. Go to the second window to collect our food. They're like, let's get your drinks out to you. And I'm like, thank you. They get our drinks out to us. I'm sitting there waiting for the food. The guy opens the door. He goes, hey, is that a new car? I'm like, yes. And he's like, is that the new Jeeps? I'm like, yes, this is what the new Jeeps look like. And he's like, oh, dude, it looks so cool. And he's like calling people over from like inside the restaurant, I guess. I guess he was looking for a new car, and he saw this one on the lot and was wondering what happened to it. And I was like, yeah, my husband and I just got this last week. And he's like, oh, it's such a cool car. It has all these specs and all this. And I'm like, yeah. Well, then as he's talking to me, all right, sorry about that. Orion woke up. He was looking for breakfast. So we're in the drive-thru, and of course I'm talking to the guy, and my throat gets dry, and we ordered 3 sweet teas. I take a drink of my sweet tea. 1, I know there are a lot of people that like unsweetened iced tea. I don't know why you like it, but I personally find it disgusting. It tastes like weird water. And so I take a big drink of my sweet tea, and it's unsweetened iced tea. And I'm like, what the I almost spit it out in my car. I of course didn't. And I'm like, excuse me, this isn't sweet tea. And the lady's like, what? I'm like, this isn't sweet tea. And she's like, oh, you wanted sweet tea? I'm like, literally, my receipt says sweet tea. She goes, I must have hit the unsweet tea button. Let me fix that for you. She fixes all 3 drinks. So we thought. She fixed 2 of the drinks. Didn't fix the 3rd one. I don't know why. Life. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right. I'm irritated because I'm hot. We've been in line for about 5-10 minutes. And I'm just ready to go home. The whole situation with Mr. Coffee has me like irritated. So I'm just like, I just want to go home and sit down and do nothing. I just want to sit and do nothing because that is life. And so I'm sitting there and she gives us back our drinks. She gives us our food. I'm like, thank you. Now, because our tea was messed up, that should have been my first cue to check our food. And I didn't. Why? I saw the salad and I saw Orion's food. And I was like, okay, well, everything seems fine. I'm just going to go. I go. We get home. Give Orion his food, give Maggie her food, pull out my food. Now, I ordered chicken and waffles with an extra buffalo wrap on the side, like just a sandwich, because later on in the night, I figured I'd probably get hungry, so I ordered it a little bit extra. And I do that every once in a while, because I eat more at night than I do during the day. So, I'm like, all right. And as for where these containers came from, by the way, they came from Walmart, because I know somebody's going to ask. They came from Walmart in the jewelry department. I don't know what they're called. I just know I got them from the jewelry department. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right. I start to eat my food. I go to open the container where my wrap is supposed to be. And there's some kind of chicken. It's like a fried chicken sandwich with onion rings and some weird orange sauce on it. And I'm like, what the flip is this? So, of course, I call back up there because whatever it is smelled awful and I didn't want to eat it. And I was just like, hey, you guys kind of messed up my order. And the lady's like, I can tell it's the same lady from drive-thru because she was like, huh? You messed up my order? I ordered a wrap and I got a chicken sandwich? She goes, oh, that's where that chicken sandwich got off to. She goes, can you call us back in like 20 minutes, though? We're really busy. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So I call back 30 minutes later and talk to the manager. And I was like, hey, is there any way that I could just, either get a refund or have my husband swing by and grab it on his way home from work? He should be coming home within the next 20, 30 minutes. And he goes, yeah, you can have your husband, swing by and get it. All right, cool. Have Mr. Coffee swing by and get it. And I was like, if you don't want the drink, just get another sweet tea. Make sure that it's sweet tea and not unsweetened tea. He goes, fine. So I was like, all right. Well, he gets home. They gave him unsweetened tea. But they did get the wrap right. The guy gave me a whole meal because they messed up my thing. The problem was when Mr. Coffee went to go get it, Mr. Coffee started feeling sick. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Coffee has hypoglycemia. And so it's like the opposite. In my brain, it's the opposite of diabetes. So his body produces too much insulin. And he still has to eat regularly and, have his fluids and everything else. And he hadn't eaten anything that day and had been working out in the heat for like 5 hours. Because, of course, where he works, they have a swamp cooler. But they don't have, like, air conditioning. So he's essentially working in the heat because the swamp cooler is, like, on the other side of the shop. So he's working pretty much in the heat. And, of course, he starts feeling sick. Like, he's about to go through sugar shock. And I'm like, get something to eat from there. They have desserts, just ask him, can you get a brownie or something? He gets some food in him. He gets some Gatorade. He's fine. He gets home. He's exhausted, of course, because he's been working in the heat. And if you've worked in the heat before, you already know it wears you out. So why do I keep spilling drills? So he was extremely tired by the time he got home. And of course, he fell asleep on the couch. And that went our Saturday. Sunday, essentially the same thing. By the time he got home, we did get to barbecue before he passed out at least. But he's been like asleep. So when he's home, he's tired. He's cranky because he's tired. He just passes out on the couch. And so that's another reason why he's been making it a point to spend that little bit of time with Maggie. And he'll go hang out with Orion for a little bit. But by the time it comes time for spending time with me, he's asleep. Now, I will risk my time with him for the kids, of course. But it's still irritating that I can't get, like, some, quality time with him. And it's just been a shit show of a situation. So today, he did go in and talk to his boss, and his boss assured him that he could have the next 2 weekends off and that he would take the reins on coming in if something is needed, which is great because I'm pretty sure his boss lives closer than he does to his job. So, yeah. All right, so we're going to move this on up. So we're going to move this up. But the kids have been doing fine. Orion, like I said, he's been going out. He's actually been going outside more without, like, prompting him to go out. So, like, he's volunteering to go out to go play with Maggie and her friends. And I'm here for it. I'm just like, yeah, dude, you can go outside. Because he'll come up and be like, Mom, is it okay if I go outside? Yeah, go outside. Who says you can't go outside? So he will... Sorry, I'm trying to find... Oh, there it is. I'm trying to find the back to that magnet. He'll go outside and hang out with Maggie and her friends, which one of the friends that she hangs out with is a classmate of Orion's. So he, you know, it's like, can I go outside and play with the kids? And I was like, yeah, go ahead and go outside. So he went outside, 2 out of 4 days last week. And I was shooketh because I was just like, he actually legit went outside. He actually played outside. Came in without fussing, got a shower, like brushed his teeth and everything, got ready for bed, and was like, all right, I'm going to bed now. Went to bed before he was supposed to go to bed. And I was just like, what is happening in my house right now? I don't understand what exactly is happening. I shouldn't complain about it. I'm not going to. But something's not right here. Orion's going out. It's like Orion's getting sun, and Maggie looks at Orion the other day, and she's like, look, Orion, now you don't look like a tactical flashlight. Now you look like a real boy. Yeah. Welcome to Maggie. I don't know what to tell you. And Maggie's been having a lot of fun with playing with Tommy and her friends, because Tommy apparently can play with her friends, and everybody plays with Tommy, and I'm just like, y'all know, y'all pretend, do y'all just not know that Tommy's invisible? Is that what we're doing? We're pretending like Tommy's visible when he's not clearly visible? All right, bet. But if you didn't see it, Minna messaged me 2 days after, what was it? I want to say it was Saturday. So her birthday was Wednesday. Friday, she messages me to let me know, or she calls me because she was bored and she was getting ready to go take her permit test. She wasn't really nervous about it. She was just like, you know, I just hope I don't pass. And I'm like, why don't you want to pass? She's like, because then Dad won't make me drive home. I'm not ready to drive home. And I'm like, well, then just tell him no. And she's like, I guess. She goes to take the test. I didn't hear from, like, I hang out with her when she finished getting ready. I tell her, of course, good luck. I love you. Just relax. Don't overthink anything. And she's like, Mom, I know. I must have hung up with her, and within 15, 20 minutes, she's calling me back. I got my permit. Like, she said it just like that. I got my permit. Oh, well, that's great, honey. So, congratulations. Are you excited? Not really. I don't have a car. I don't know what she thought was about to happen, but I'm going to guess she thought, like, the moment she got that permit, that a car was just magically going to show up. And I'm like, 1, it's a permit, not a license. Calm down, toots. 2, why did you think a car was going to show up? And she was like, well, Dad and I have been talking about me getting a car and all this. And I'm like, Minna, you have a permit. You don't have a license. You can't drive by yourself. She's like, well, yeah, I know. And I'm kind of hoping I can get a pickup truck. And I'm like, what are you hauling? What are you hauling? Well, me and my friends, I'm like, wouldn't you do better in an SUV or a car versus a pickup truck? She really liked Mr. Coffee's pickup truck, and I don't think we told her that we traded his car in. Now that I think about it, oops, I just thought about that. I don't think we ever told her. Oh well. So yeah, hold on, I got a drill. How do you get drill stuck weird ways in your drill pin? So yeah, so she got her permit, so she's excited, and then she got mad because her dad wouldn't let her drive somewhere. And I'm like, Minna, you literally just got the permit like a few hours ago. Like, you thought he was gonna get, like, she legit doesn't know how the world works. She legit thought a car was gonna show up, 1. 2, then she thought her dad was just gonna easily give her the car for the night. Like, what the hell? You don't have your license, chick. You have a permit. I'm like, you still have to ride with people, and this is why I can't buy her a car, because 1, I'd have to have it insured here and in Pennsylvania, and 2, I can't see what she's doing to make sure she is being safe. This chick is already trying to drive by herself with a permit. I'm like, if you were caught driving by yourself, you would get into a lot of trouble. So, yeah, I wouldn't go gallivanting around, even if your dad lets you. I wouldn't go gallivanting around without having, like, you know, somebody in the car who has a license and not another permit. Because then she said about her friend going with her, and I'm like, no. Make sure you both are buckled up. Make sure one of you has an actual license, which is obviously going to be the other person. And then you guys can, you know, do whatever. But until then, you don't call your friends that have permits and be like, you want to go for a drive. What is this? You know how much gas is right now? Like, come on now. So, yeah, so she's super excited. But, oh, I didn't finish that other... Y'all, my brain is all over the place. I am so sorry. Again, I am going through some stuff right now, so please forgive me if these are random rambles are all over the place. Tommy apparently decided that Tommy was going to drink my mango pineapple lemonade the other day. And that's the story I was getting to when I said about making my breakfast. I made breakfast. I go to sit down and I realized that I had a mango pineapple lemonade or whatever in the fridge. I go to go grab it and there's like a swallow left of it. And I'm like, what the flip? Maggie looks at me, looks at Orion. Orion looks at Maggie and then looks beside Maggie as if somebody was sitting there. And he goes, Tommy did it. And Maggie goes, I told you, Mom, it was Tommy. Maggie, Tommy is not a real person. And she's like, he is, Mom. He really is. Okay, Maggie. Y'all, I'm about to get a super soaker and fill it with holy water and just spritz Maggie a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. Just a little real quick. Because Tommy's out here doing the most. And I look at Orion, and the fact that Orion went along with this and was like, yeah, it was Tommy. Sir, you're supposed to be like my super smart kid. And you're telling me that an imaginary friend of Maggie's drank my lemonade. And he goes, well, it wasn't me, Mom. And then they both look over at whatever they've claimed to be Tommy sitting next to Maggie. And he's like, it was Tommy. Sir, it was not Tommy. Tommy is not a real person. And if Tommy is a real person, he needs to pay rent. Because again, and she's like, Mom, he does pay rent. Remember, he gave you $1 a couple of days ago. $1. A Monopoly dollar. Like, it wasn't even a real dollar. It was a Monopoly dollar that Tommy just happened to leave on the banister next to my bedroom. And I'm like, where'd this dollar come from? And Maggie goes, it was Tommy. He's paying his portion of the rent. Okay, I don't know if Tommy realizes this. Just because he's imaginary doesn't mean that money to pay bills is imaginary. I need real money, Maggie. And she's like, well, Mom, it's not like he has a job. How's he supposed to get a job? You won't take him to work. What do I look like taking an imaginary person to work? Please explain. Please. Did anybody else's kids have an imaginary friend like this? Is it just Maggie? Like, I remember having an imaginary friend, but he never did have the stuff that Tommy does. So I'm just like, do other parents go through this? I need to know. Like, I really need to know. So, because I am going through it right now. Like, I am mentally exhausted. Between Mr. Coffee's work schedule, Tommy, Maggie hiding in rabbit hutches, and Orion voluntarily going outside. I don't know up from down right now, and my brain is fried, okay? Like, I've had enough adulting for this life, and I'm over it. And last thing before I go, so Maggie and her little friend from next door found Mr. Coffee's Legos out in the garage, and the neighbor guy was asking about the new car, and he was asking, did I get rid of my Highlander? And I was explaining to him, yeah, I don't talk to my neighbor too often, but I did talk to him the other day, and it's always nice to talk to other people because I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I don't typically, minus people on the internet, I don't get a lot of adult interaction. And so, like, I don't mind talking to my neighbor and stuff, which, of course, Mr. Coffee is, like, the antisocial, like, if y'all think I'm bad, Mr. Coffee is worse. He doesn't want to talk to people. He doesn't want to go outside. He doesn't want to interact with people. He just wants to sit in the house all day, every day. And there's nothing wrong with that except for I'm a homebody, but I also like to go out and, like, go on adventures where I get to go hiking or something. I love hiking. I love, just not really running, but kind of running, I guess. But I don't mind going out and doing stuff like that. Like, stuff that, I don't know. I don't mind going out and doing stuff like that. Do I want to go into large crowds of people and be smushed at, like, an amusement park? No. Do I mind going to the woods and taking a hike and finding things and doing what we normally do, which is, we kind of play, not charades, but we kind of draw something that we like about our trip. Yes, I love doing stuff like that. Mr. Coffee hates it. And I'm like, well, you're going to have to get over it. So, so the kids found Mr. Coffee's Legos in the garage. And I was talking to the neighbor, and he asked to see the new car. So I take him over to see the new truck. And he's like, that's, whatever. By the way, how do I like the new truck? It's good, I guess. I've driven it now 3 times. Other than that, the garage loves it. The garage, like, hugs it and keeps it warm and safe. But me personally, I haven't really driven it enough to be like, I've fallen in love with it. It is a nice, smooth ride, but I'm pretty sure at some point I will get over my heartache of
missing my Highlander and go to loving my Jeep. But for right now, like literally it has spent more time with the garage than it has me. So there's that. Plus gas prices. I don't know about anybody else, but gas prices. I'm very happy just walking around where I live and stuff like that. Like today, I'm going to walk the kids up to the big playground up the street. I was going to drive them over, and then I was like, gas prices. So gas prices will have you out here rethinking your whole life decisions, your whole day's plans are rearranged because of gas prices. So I'm like, yeah, no, we'll walk. It'll be hot, but I'll walk. I'll better put on a tank top and some shorts because, yeah. So I'm showing the guy the car, and the kids see the Legos, so they're playing with the Legos, and I was like, just be careful. And these Legos are those little tiny ones that you build stuff out of. And so Mr. Coffee has a bunch of Legos just chilling in the garage. He was going to throw them out because nobody wanted them. But then the little boy next door showed interest, and all of a sudden, Mr. Coffee's a giant kid again, and he doesn't want to give up his Legos. And I'm like, seriously? He's like, well, I really don't want to give them up. I just need somewhere to put them for right now. And I'm like, they're in the garage. Like, okay, can they play with them? And he told the kids that they could play with them, just don't take anything apart, because he had worked very hard to get all the dinosaurs and cars and everything else to put together. He didn't want the kids taking it apart. The kids said, okay, so they were playing with the Legos. Well, the next day, the little kids decide they're going to play with the Legos again. Well, this was yesterday. I'm live, and I hear this thumping noise, and I didn't know what it was at first. And then I get a ring at the doorbell, and it's a little neighbor boy. And I'm like, Maggie is already outside, dude. Like, I don't know why you're ringing my door, but I'm a little busy right now. And he's like, well, no, Maggie is outside, but she's not letting my friend play with the toys. And I'm like, play with what toys? And he's like, the Legos. And I'm like, why is she not letting him play with the Legos? And he's like, I don't know, but she won't let him play. So I look out into outside to see where they were at with the Legos, because I don't remember her, one, asking to play with them, and two, I didn't remember hearing the garage door open. So I go look, and here, sure enough, she's sitting in the garage with the Legos, and the little kid is throwing Mr. Coffee's figurines made with the Legos against the wall. Well, then, instead of throwing them against the wall, right when I looked, he then picks up another one and throws it at the new car. Yep. Did your blood pressure spike up a little bit? Mine's did. It took everything in my power not to snatch that little kid up and throw him into the middle of the street. So I just kind of nudged him in the butt with my foot, and I was like, you need to get up out of here. So I picked him up and was like, get out of here. And the little neighbor boy next door was like, why'd you do that? I'm like, he's throwing a thing of Legos at my new car. You can get out of here as well. Matter of fact, all of you get out of my garage. So I kicked them out of the garage and made them go play outside, to which, of course, the little neighbor boy didn't want to play with Maggie anymore because Maggie was being mean, and her mommy is mean. And I'm like, well, just because I don't give you what you want doesn't make me mean. That means I have boundaries, and I'm not going to let some 6-year-old tell me that he's not going to follow my boundaries, especially at my own house where I pay the bills. So, yeah, no. I'm like, if you want, I can go tell your mom that your little friend was throwing stuff up against my car. Matter of fact, why don't you go have your friend bring his parents up here so that I can explain to them that if there are any scratches on my new vehicle, that they will be paying to have it repaired, seeing as how I have it on camera that their kid is throwing Legos at my new car. Both kids kind of run off. And I was like, after stream, if the little boy hasn't come back, I'm going to go check out the car, make sure there's no scratches or anything. If there is, I will be taking pictures and videos up to the parents. I went up to the parents anyways and was like, hey, look, your child was playing in the garage of my house, and I don't really mind that the kids play in the garage. The problem was your son was throwing Legos at my car. I literally just picked this up not even a week ago, like barely a week ago. And they were like, oh my God, I can't believe, he has behavioral issues, so you'll just have to forgive him. No, I don't. You have to forgive him because that's your kid. He ain't my kid. You either need to teach your child how to behave when they're at other people's house, or don't let them come to my house anymore. And that's the thing is, anytime a child acts up around here, the reason why it seems like I'm being harsh, anytime a child acts up around here, the first thing the parents do is go, they have behavioral health issues. So you'll just have to forgive them. Okay, so I have behavioral health issues. So if I take matters into my own hands, are you going to call the cops on me? And they're not going to arrest me because I have behavioral health issues, right? Like, I listened to a little boy the other day cussing in front of his mom. And not just like, he didn't say just like damn or something. He was dropping F-bombs, okay? Their mother pissing me off. And I'm like, what the flip? Y'all, look, I'm at the dog park with the dogs, okay? I'm at the dog park with the dogs. Little boy starts with his tears, like the waterworks. Like, these are the fakest tears I've ever seen. He's riding his bike, laughing and joking the 1 minute. The next minute, his mom shows up. He jumps off the bike and immediately starts crying. No tears, just crying. Pulling an Amber Heard, okay? Immediately starts crying. And telling his mom that the little boys at the playground are pissing him off. F them, they're effing me off, and this, and that. And I'm like, I'm sitting there with my jaw on the floor because I'm waiting for her to hit him in the mouth for cursing. And she is not. She's just like, Billy, well, you need to calm down. You just got to calm. I'm like, what the flip? It was so bad, okay? Like, it was so bad that even the dogs, I'm sitting there with the dog park fence open. Both dogs are looking at me like, did you hear that? Like, neither one of them have gone into the dog park yet, because as soon as, from the time he hit that first F-bomb, me and the dogs both snap our neck back like, what the flip? It was that loud, okay? They were maybe 30 feet away from us. It was that loud. And even the dogs were sitting there getting the tea. Like, they were just like, ooh, she gonna hit him. This about to get good. Never hit the little boy. Never punished him. Never said anything to him about him cursing. Went over to the other little kids and told them to knock it off messing with her son and stop calling him autistic because he doesn't like being called autistic. And the one little boy was like, he said he was autistic. So we weren't calling him autistic because we were picking on him. We said that he was autistic. I guess I don't know why they were doing it. I didn't hear all the rest of it. I didn't really care. I was waiting for her to say something about the fact that he's cursing. Well, then she talks to the kids. She finishes talking to the kids and tells the little boy to go home. Little boy, the whole way there, is F-bomb this, F-bomb that. They stop in the middle of the road at some point, and he starts trying to, like, he's not hitting her with the bike, but he's, like, nudging it into the back of her leg and telling her that she's not listening to him and she doesn't understand how much they effed him off. And I'm like, what is happening right now in my life? Y'all, I couldn't. I'm pretty sure that's the same little boy that I told to watch his mouth a few weeks ago when I went to go walk the dogs and Maggie was with me. And the little boy said, F this to a motorcycle guy that drove past. And I was like, how about you watch your mouth? Because you might be able to curse in front of your parents, but you're not going to do it in front of me. And he didn't say another word after that. And I stayed at the park extra long just to make sure he didn't. But I'm pretty sure it's the same kid. And I'm sitting there like, I can't imagine. Like, I understand if you let your kids curse in your home, because that's your home. But outside of the house, yeah. And even the little boys at the playground were even saying, you know, he's got a really bad potty mouth. He just keeps cursing at everybody. And I think that's one of the reasons why they were calling him autistic. They were like, do you curse a lot because you're autistic? And the little boy took that as them picking on him, if I remember correctly. And so he then went crying to his mom. And his mom's like, well, he has behavioral health issues and you're just going to have to deal with that and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, one, you have to deal with that. That's your kid. Everybody else doesn't have to deal with that. Two, I don't mind if, like, you have, like, a nonverbal kid and they're making noise. That doesn't bother me. When your child is blatantly cursing in full sentences, caught in 4K cursing, and your only reaction is, calm down, Billy. It's going to be okay. No, it's not, Billy. You need your mouth smacked. You know what happened to, okay, when you were little, we all cursed, okay, when we were little. When you were little, what happened to you? Did you get the soap in the mouth or did you get popped in the mouth? Did you get both? Answer that question down in the comment section, because me personally, we got the soap in the mouth, okay? At some point, I had cursed so much, I had gotten used to the soap in the mouth. But I did get in trouble and I would get my butt beat every once in a while for cursing. This kid, no actions. And I'm like, this is now the second or third kid that I've watched do something like this. And the parents are just like, they have behavioral health issues. Excuse me? Oh my God. I understand your child acting out for attention. I understand your child acting out because they have behavioral health issues. I get it. But if you don't correct or at least attempt to correct it and you just excuse it because they have, you know, behavioral health issues, I don't think that's going to make it any better. Like, I really don't. I honestly can't speak on it too much because I don't have... Maggie has behavioral issues. But that's because Maggie's an asshole. That's not because she, like, something mental is going on or whatnot. Like, that's just because Maggie's Maggie. And don't get it twisted. Just because I call my daughter an asshole doesn't mean that I don't love my child. I do love my child. But I also recognize that my daughter has a really bad problem with behaving herself and listening, and I am aware of this, and as a parent, it's my job to correct her when she does do something wrong, which she does get corrected. Is it going to stop her from doing it, though? No. Do I have to constantly correct her? Yes. But will I correct her out in public or in the house? I don't give a crap where we are. She's getting corrected. But yeah, like, I can't, and the boy didn't seem like he had anything wrong, which doesn't, again, mean anything. I'm digging myself into a further hole here. I'm just trying to say that I don't have or know this child, but I do know that it's okay to have behavioral health issues. I'm very understanding of that, but allowing your child to curse at you and be completely disrespectful at a playground where there's children, small children playing, that's unacceptable to me. That is complete, like, that's where I draw the line, okay? I don't care about nothing else. That's where I draw the line. And the fact that his mother just sat there and did nothing, I was just baffled. I was baffled. I didn't know what to do with myself. I just sat there. So, yeah. Children are going to act out. They're children. But cursing? No, I can't. I can't do it. Again, if you allow it in your house, that's your job. That's your house. You can allow them to say and do whatever you want. But, like, when they come out into public and they're doing it around small... Now, when I say small children, Maggie's little friend was over there. He's 6. With another little boy that's 7. And this boy's just letting the F-bombs fly like they're fireworks. And I'm just like, sweet Lord and baby Jesus. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But me personally, my children will not be acting, like, cursing out people like that. And according to her, he didn't even have autism. They just kept saying that because they were asking him or something. I don't freaking know. Either way, I'm getting out of here. As you can tell, it's been a horrific weekend. And I am tired. And I have to go make breakfast for the kids because it is super early in the morning here on Tuesday. But I hope you guys enjoyed the whip and chat. If you did, please don't forget to give it a like, give it a thumbs up. We are going to continue to work on Swan Lake until it's done. I will be taking a break from it because there is a canvas coming in that I really, really want to work on, and I'm going to work on it. Because if I'm going to work on a canvas that I don't want to work on, the least I can do is work on a second canvas that I do want to work on. So, with that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day and continue to do so. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!